Hi, my name is Tony K. Silver, and this is a video about my story. I've been asked a few times. I have done another video about my work and why people should use me and why they should ask that question, etc. But this is a bit about my journey, and it's really started back in 2008, and there was a global recession. Yeah, I was a victim of it. In 2009, I think March 2009 was the last working day. And I was 48, nearly 49. So how did you find a job when you were that old? Yeah, old. There is no ageism, but I sure encountered it. Really did. And all the traditional methods I'd always used were no longer relevant. Luckily, I found an executive job club. They put me straight after giving us a few weeks to bed in and do the things we did and reported back. I got top marks, being really, really intent on getting a job. I did all the things that I'd always done, and I got praised for my level of activity, but only to be told that actually I was doing the wrong thing. Yeah, that hit hard. So, what did I need to do? Two things. We were very clear. I needed to start using LinkedIn effectively. Yes, I was on LinkedIn like everyone else in the room, but was I using it effectively? No, I was not. And also, networking. Yeah, I had to go networking, and I always joke about this, thinking at the time, well, networking wasn't that IT guys and cables in the roof and things. No, it was meeting people, and I embraced it. I decided, and the Executive Job Club had free places at the local Chamber of Commerce, so I put my hand up to look around the room to find out no one else did. Well, okay, I'm on my own. Luckily, nice and close for me, being out of work. Big budgets, no, hardly any budget. Government doesn't give you much when you're out of work, even though you've been paying in for years. So I turned up at the local hotel. I seem to think there were 70 people there in suits, which is very scary when your proposition is, hi, I'm Tony. Can you help me find a job? At this stage, most of them had to go to the loo, find themselves a copy, spotted someone they needed to speak to urgently, or feign the fact the phone was ringing. Yeah, people weren't really interested. Kind of scared me. I stayed. I tried to mingle, I tried to fit in. But I got home, and I'll be honest, I cried. If this is how I'm going to find a job, oh my God. How I went back to the Executive Job Club and told them exactly what had happened. Talking to them, an idea popped into my head. What if I use one of the Executive Job Club business cards? Because we used business cards back in those days. I haven't for many years. And they said, yeah, we got some plain ones, just write your name on it. Turned up the following month, changed my pattern, changed my 60 seconds. We didn't all have 60 seconds, there was too many of us, but they asked for volunteers and I put my hand up and I told them about the Executive Job Club, what they did. At the end of it, I just said, I'm one of the ones they're trying to help. Complete 360. Everyone was now very interested in talking to me about the job club, but also, about my situation. I'd cracked it. I got invited to networking events. I pointed out that I couldn't afford much. You know, people are aware that the job seekers allowance in the UK, as it was then, is very, very small. And I got invited as people's guests. I found some free networking as well. And then about the third month in, Chamber had a LinkedIn expert come along. Wow. My God, I needed to be at that event. And I was. I went to the events. I listened. I learned. And I stayed back at the end and engaged with the trainer. Explained my situation. And for whatever reason, he decided, I'm going to help this person, which is actually the way I've always been doing business. He trained me. He told me, I wouldn't say everything he knew, but he told me a massive amount about LinkedIn that I never knew about. But he also said, if you go networking and someone asks you a question, Here's a group of people you can talk to, and introduce me to a global group of LinkedIn trainers. Someone here will know and be able to help you. So I now had a weapon I could offer to go networking and help people on LinkedIn. That got me into some events that I traded. It got to the point where, yeah, um, I was happy to give out information to people. But the whole aim was to get myself a job. So not only at 48 was I old, 48, 49, apparently I was stupid. Yeah, I say that now, it's a jokey comment. But yes, I wanted to go back, get security and working with someone else. How did that work out? Well, I worked for a charity. Funding ran out, as it often does in charities. Also struggled because they were not a business. They didn't understand business. Yeah, kept going to the chamber. My places ran out. The free places disappeared. Luckily, I built relationships, which is what I tend to do. And the people that ran the events, the people on actually at the events, the business managers that led it said, yeah, come along as my guest. And every time I go, got any jobs? Got any jobs? Because I like what the chamber did. It was local, literally a mile from my house. I could walk there. Boom. They reported back, and I went 1 month, and they said, yes, actually, our director would like to have a word with you. I said, brilliant, fantastic. You know, have the details, which they gave to me. Got back from the meeting, rang them straight away. Said, hi, I'm so-and-so. And they said, yes, we're expecting your call. We'd like you to come in and have a chat. Brilliant. I could be there in 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. Love your enthusiasm, but give it an hour. I turned up, 3/4 an hour later, I secured myself a role. It was in the sales team, and it was selling membership. That lasted about a year, and opportunity arose for me to move into the events team, which I grabbed. I've been going to many events. I like running events. And now I had the chance to do it from scratch. For the 3.5 years I was in the events team, I recollect running and getting involved in over 400 events. Now I'm in the Thames Valley, Windsor, near Windsor, and there are a lot of people in this area, a lot of big companies, Microsoft, the Dells, the O2s, and lots of American head offices. So it's very verdant, very, very green. There's lots of business to be had. And I thoroughly enjoyed. I got to go to Windsor Castle and Clifton and places like that and meet directors of these larger companies as well. Built relationships with them. Then I got moved. Things happened. CEO unfortunately passed away. Lovely chap. The new guy and I never really saw face to face anyway. We had a few clashes. I got moved, actually, because I was being made redundant. But they had to offer you. The manager of this particular department said, yes, I'd love to have Tony. But I become a cage tiger. Yeah, I was someone who likes getting out, likes talking to people. And pretty much 99% of the time I was sat by the desk looking at and signing forms. Yeah. The writing was on the wall. Although when I did have my notice in and took that manager downstairs and thanked him for giving me the opportunity, but actually now I'm leaving, they were surprised, which just really surprised me that they hadn't seen the writing on the wall. So I decided to go and find myself a niche in the local area. I'd worked with someone before, so the very important part of this story, and the one that relates to some of the groups that I'm in, and this might be shown to, is that about 6 or 7 months before I did have my notice in, resign, leave, etc., I had found and started working with a mentor. His chat was, he was a millionaire, absolutely, very successful, knew him well, supported him in helping him with some of his events, etc. So he was more than happy to reach out to me when he found out my situation and said, look, I can help you. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick, but we need to put things in place. And that's exactly it. He helped me put the stuff in place where I'm coming up to very soon now. In fact, think it's Sunday, when I actually left and started my next part of my journey. Now, a little caveat here, I did find myself a part-time role because the one thing that happens in that first year of business is you're growing your business. You're not always busy. And the other side, which is the thing that absolutely crucifies a lot of startups, the cash doesn't flow in like you think it might. In fact, you've got to invest in getting your business up and running. So making money becomes extremely difficult. One of the things he taught me was to have a pot of money. So I knew even if I completely made a total mess of year one, I'd be there in year two, which made it things very, very nice. But I went and worked with the agreement that as soon as my business picked up to the point where I couldn't give both sides equal measures of, I would move on. And that was fine. They just were grateful for having me there. And it was really useful to have that. So I started full time, going out in the local area, meeting people, extensive networking, got imposter syndrome. Yeah, I'm sure everyone listening to this has heard of it, if not had it themselves. So it grew steadily, nothing dramatic. I got involved in speaking, mainly because I was challenged by someone to, you're a LinkedIn expert, you've got fantastic knowledge, etc. You need to share it just more than one to one. I'm not sure when one to many. And eventually I just said yes to shut him up and realized I committed myself to going a talk in London. He put me on first. Yes, I was absolutely nervous as hell. I had little cue cards, but I got through it. But at the end, he kind of had to tell me to come off, it's his turn. I'd actually enjoyed it. I spoke about this with a few people, and I discovered the Professional Speaking Association, and I joined them, and that really helped me move things forward on that side of things. But meanwhile, yes, the business growing steadily. In fact, speakers became regular clients of mine. Fantastic at what they do. They've got the guts to go on stage and speak in front of 10 to 10,000 people. It doesn't matter. But their LinkedIn profiles, maybe not quite cutting it to the point. In fact, some of them, it definitely wasn't, and maybe putting people off. Pandemic. Yeah, pandemic. What a horrible thing. I don't like even thinking about it. But one thing I did consider straight away is that I can go and work online very easily. In fact, it opens up new vistas, new opportunities to me because I concentrated on the Thames Valley because I like meeting people. I didn't want to have to travel massively far, hour, something like that. So London was also obviously on the cards from where I lived. But, pandemic, we're not allowed to travel. So I started going to events in the Midlands, Scotland. Oh, wait a second, I've been invited to something in South Africa, then Australia. Yeah, the world had opened up. Pandemic, gradually you were let back out. In person, yeah, difficult. People were really suffering. Hospitality took a massive hit. Not so many events to go to. So we kind of have been used to the online. And online had actually opened up opportunities for me to go and join networking events across the globe, but also get asked to do presentations, which I grabbed at the opportunity to do so. Then we started getting more and more busy on the online side. It started to get a little bit, and I was desperately seeking in-person stuff. So yeah, I definitely started targeting in-person stuff. I joined some groups in America. So that was through an English-based networking group. I was very keen on looking at America, although I was it's LinkedIn started back in May 2003 in America. I'm going across there as an English person. How will that sit? Actually, in hindsight, it sat very well. There's a saying that the Americans love the English voice. I just thought it was one of those myths we hear about. No, they loved it. Wanted to listen to me. They loved my knowledge. In fact, the other thing I really was worried about was being in LinkedIn's back garden. A lot of people never come across a LinkedIn profiler, trainer, and at my level, my learnings, absolutely. So I got to talk at lots of different networking events. I joined a few groups, built my American business. In fact, as I sit here now, the last two clients are from America. Simple as that. Not exclusively, but it's a good place for me to be. We come up to date, 2026. There's been lots of things thrown at me in the years I've been. The pandemic was a start. Financial crisis, recession, energy crisis. Oh, look, a couple of wars thrown in for good measure. Yeah, it's been tough. And it's not just tough for me. I'm not looking for a pity party here at all. Everyone has said that the last few years have been really, really tough. And that original figure of businesses that failed, it was in the first 5 years of businesses starting up, 50% failed when I started mine in 2018. That figure has risen to 69%. It's tough out there. I'm very proud to know that I'm just about to finish the year 8 and get into year 9. It's still hard. But if you're resilient, and as my great friend Nigel Wisner says, be present. Don't just turn up, be present. A lot of people turn up to networking meetings and just do the bare minimum. No, you need to be remembered for the right things, of course. And that's what I do. I go, I give, I help people. But ultimately, I make it very clear to people, what's the ideal referral for you? This is a common question in networking and one that does cause me slight concerns. I teach people how to get around it. But LinkedIn's sector or industry agnostic. It's all over the world. And if you're 16, you can have an account. Well, that's virtually everyone I meet. But everyone I meet actually want to work with me? Wouldn't it be great? Truth is, that's not the case. So I'm aware that everyone I meet, probably less than 10 people in the years I've been working, have said they're not on LinkedIn. So that's the kind of world I exist in, where people are on LinkedIn. But are they actually using it properly, effectively for what they're doing? Many of them are absolutely fine. But there are opportunities out there, and just keep turning up, finding new groups, spreading the word. My business now, end of last year, I always do a review. Referrals and stroke historic contacts. Over 50% of my business is coming from those people. So it's relationships that I've built. In fact, in February, it was 85%. You need to keep turning up. You need to be present. You need to give. There are many sayings out there, but I'm very much into reciprocity. I don't give to get it back, but it's out there. If you are a giving person, always looking to help, but making it clear, as I do, that ideal referral actually is someone who's angry and annoyed with LinkedIn, because that's an emotional response. And the emotional response means that they got issues with LinkedIn. It could be that they used to be able to use it effectively and LinkedIn's changed and they've been left behind. Or they see someone else looking really well on it, but they're not. Often the case. So an angry person with LinkedIn is good because they have got the want and the need, which most people have. They've got the third part, which is the really important. They've got a budget, an investment to work to solve it. Maybe not with me, but at least they've got an investment. That's what I say to people. Always happy to do little presentations, networking groups, as long as the demographic of the room is right for me, because yes, I'm in business. But if you're going to refer people to me, please qualify them on the want need, but also do they have an investment to sort this? I can do various different things with people. I always say that I have 3 types of services, but I don't try and fit prospect into the services. I do it the other way around. So there's always an opportunity from low cost academy, £25 a month, $35 to working with global corporations where it runs into 4 or 5 figures. So that's my journey. Started off when a pity party back in 2009 when I got made redundant was woe was me and it's everyone else's fault. So launching my company in 2018 and still being here and still looking to help people. It's tough. Yeah, the education sector at the moment in the UK, it's been basically attacked by the government. Lots of schools that have been around for over 100 years have had to close down. Yeah, there are definitely challenges out there. But if you stick at it, there are opportunities. But let people know what it is that you do. Don't just come along and do a bland old 60 seconds, but also offer to help, get involved in the conversations. That's what I do. That's the way I go about it. So if that story you just heard is useful, I also do on stage in a resilience piece, a careers piece. I tend to call the people I work with in America and in the UK, they're in mid-career. They are 45, 55, and it's tough. If I can show them that I can do it and how I went about it, that could inspire them. That is what I want to do. I want to inspire people. When I go on stage, when I run a workshop, my main aim, apart from getting return on investment for the client, is that the people that attend kind of are annoyed with me to a certain degree because they've got this massive, great to-do list they didn't have before they started the meeting with me. But that's great, as long as they implement it. And that's what I say to people. Work with me. I'm entertaining. I'm knowledgeable. I'm experienced. But if you don't actually implement what you hear from me, what a waste of time and money that was. But do go look at my testimonials, my recommendations. It gets results. So yeah, that's my story. 2026, third of the way through almost. What's the hell? Quarter of the way through, sorry. What's going on with this? Time's whizzing by. But I'm talking at places like Oxford University. I'm working with franchises. Lots of things in America. Yeah, there are opportunities. You just need to keep at it. So be resilient, turn up, and be present.